We all know when it comes to deployment, nothing beats the speed and convenience of a fixed blade. But what about folders? We have balisong flips. We have two-handed openings. We have flippers. We have kinetic openings. We have razor openings. And finally, we have pocket openers, or as Emerson calls them, waves. So the main purpose of this video is we're going to explore a little bit more in depth pocket opening devices, or as the Emerson Corporation calls them, waves. That's the trademark name by Emerson Knives for a device on the back of a blade that allows the knife to be opened when drawn from a pocket. Emerson designs a hook on the back of his knives. Now, this is a waved Endura by Spyderco. This is directly licensed from Emerson, but you'll find it on any number of Emerson specifically knives. And I think at this point in time, you can either buy Kershaw licensed versions of Emerson knives, as well as some licensed wave designs through Spyderco, and you can also buy direct Emerson knives. Good quality knives, so all of them. So none's better than the other. But back to the subject at hand, the wave feature. So what this does is this little hook catches on the seam of your pants, whether you're drawing it in forward grip or reverse grip, and forces the knife blade open, like so. Pretty cool device, and quite reliable as far as one-handed opening. Now, if your pants are really old or your pockets are really broken in, these might not work. And if you don't draw it out of your pocket at the right angle, it won't work. So, relying on a wave to be the only way you open a pocket knife for quick deployment is not necessarily the smartest way to go. Always be able to open your knife no matter how you're holding it, so that you can deploy it from whatever grip you need to deploy it from. And in the opening of this video, you saw several different ways you can open up a knife, and I'm not really going to go into those. There's plenty of tutorials out there on the internet on everything from kinetic openings, brownie pops, switch, but you name it. But we're focusing on waves today. So, as I said, this is a licensed wave. Now, back in early 2000s, if memory serves, once this idea kind of got out there, a lot of companies, and let's say they're infringing on Emerson's patent, started manufacturing little add-on devices like this right here. Let's see if we can get that in focus. And let's flip it over to the other side. Now, that is a bolt-on aftermarket device that operates in the exact same way. Now, I actually like this one a little better because there's a point on it, so it tends to grab your pocket a little bit more securely when you're pulling it out of your pocket to allow it to open. And now you can find all sorts of these all over the web for 10 or 12 bucks, and they are generally specifically configured for the model knife you have. Now, Cold Steel did a little something different in their approach to this idea of a pocket opener. And now we're going to go from a reasonable knife to carry to what I like to call the silly knife. I am sure many of you are familiar with Cold Steel's knives, and in particular the Cold Steel This thing is a friggin' pocket sword, pocket bowie, um, kind of the modern day ratchet knife, bowie when you get down to it. So instead of having a point, instead of having a specifically designed mechanism to open the knife when you draw it from your pocket, they created this square thumb wheel. Now, prior to this design, most knives with a top mounted thumb wheel, it was round. But by making it into this rectangle, you still have enough space on here to actually deploy this from your pocket. And even as ridiculous as that knife is, it's actually very comfortable to carry, and you can conveniently carry it in, a pair of blue jeans. But the ability to get this giant monster of a knife out and open that quick is wonderful. And if you're an F&A guy, this thing is a beast. Personally, I'm a big fan of this knife. But the opening, that's the important part. Now let's go back in much earlier history. So about the time Spyderco hit the market, let me adjust my camera here for a second. About the time that Spyderco hit the market with their patented thumb hole opening, and everybody started carrying knives with thumb holes to open them, some enterprising individual in the dark depths of Hood Rat Arts and Crafts came up with this brilliant idea. Now, this right here is a super cheap folder that's bought as a training drone. But what happened is somebody figured out that by taking a couple of zip ties and putting them through the hole in your knife, you create the exact same opening mechanism as a wave. And you do it for about 6 cents. And as we'll see here, it opens. Now, the zip ties through the hole, they're not as reliable as a number of other stronger devices because they can move, and that's why you tend to put 2 of them on there, so that while they may move, you can still get some purchase. And if you're really smart about it, you cut the zip ties so that they're still a little pointy. That way it's grabbing the fabric inside of your pocket. And it allows you to snap it out relatively quickly. Now, this is much faster to deploy than a switchblade, because you don't have to muck around and find the button. But if you don't get the draw right, it doesn't open. And let's take a look at that draw specifically. When you've got the knife in your hand, you have to pull the knife out and to the rear to engage that seam right there by the rivet on your jeans. If you don't catch it, it ain't gonna open. But most of the time, it's there. Incidentally, now I'm not gonna reverse the pocket clip on this for just this video, but you can set this up with the pocket clip on the other side for a front draw into reverse grip. So that might be an option if that's something you're into. You can also catch it on parts of your body and things like that. So this is just a wonderful way to open your knife. And honestly, let's not just think about this as a self-defense or tactical feature. Truthfully, this is really great if you have to access a knife and you've got one hand tied up doing something.